Friend, how can you have the liberties that so many men and women have fought and died for and then have them subjected to Sharia law? They're incompatible. And when we think of people who want to slowly bring Sharia law creeping into this country, you need to think of what's happening and look at Egypt and Pakistan and Saudi Arabia to see what it would look like. The Saudi Arabian constitution contains even more explicit requirements regarding the role of Sharia law. And special notice should be given to laws and rights related to religion and expression. Listen to some of these, okay? The Kingdom of Saudi Arabia is a sovereign Arab Islamic state with Islam as its religion, God's book and the Sunnah as of his prophet, God's prayers and peace be upon him, are its constitution. That's it. The Quran and the Sunnah, the words and deeds of Muhammad, that's the constitution. Wow. Article 8 says, government in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia is based on the premise of justice, consultation, and equality in accordance with the Islamic Sharia. Equality? Do you know what happens to people who try and practice Christianity in Saudi Arabia to this day? There are people on death row, people who have been beheaded. It is against the law to build a church there. Here's Article 23, Saudi Arabian Constitution. The state protects Islam. It implements its Sharia. It orders people to do right and shun evil, to fulfill the duty regarding God's call. In other words, it compels people by force and threat of force. It couldn't be any clearer. That is what Sharia law has done from the inception of Islam. Some of you don't know, after Muhammad died, there was a great apostasy. Almost the entire Arabian Peninsula said, okay, that's over. Let's go back to our own religions. And Abu Bakr, the first caliph or the first successor of Muhammad, had to reconquer with war, slaughter, the sword. He had to reconquer the Arabian Peninsula to get everyone to stay on board with Islam. As I said at the beginning, take the sword out of Islam's hand and it will perish of its own weight. Let's look at Article 26. This would be laughable if it wasn't so tragic. This is about human rights in Saudi Arabia. The state protects human rights in accordance with the Islamic Sharia. That's it. The state protects rights in accordance with the Islamic Sharia. Well, in other words, you don't have the right to expression. You don't have the right to practice your religion. You don't have the right to change your religion. Here's Article 39. Information, publication, and other media shall employ courteous language and the state's regulations, and they shall contribute to the education of the nation and the bolstering of its unity. All acts that foster sedition or division or harm the state's security and its public relations or detract from man's dignity and rights shall be prohibited. The statutes shall define all that. In other words, freedom of press, expression, no. It's forbidden in their constitution, which is anchored in Sharia law. Here's Article 48. The courts will apply the rules of Islamic Sharia in the cases that are brought before them, in accordance with what is indicated in the book and the Sunnah, and statutes decreed by the ruler which do not contradict the book or the Sunnah. Friend, I'll stop. I could keep going with the Saudi Arabian constitution, but I want you to see and to be able to talk to your friends about the direct connection between Sharia law in Islamic nations and the suppression of human rights, the violation of human rights, the crushing of human rights, and the suffering of men and women and children in those nations who try and practice a different religion than Islam. They suffer for it, some of them with the loss of their property, their jobs, their freedom, their lives. All right. let's talk again about freedom of thought, conscience, religion, and expression under Sharia law concerning the ancient four Islamic schools of thought. I want to give you a couple of illustrations, one from the Hanafites, one from the Malachites. A key element with Sharia legal theory is that Allah, God, would not allow his people and their leaders to reach a consensus that was unanimous unless it was true. So you've got four ancient schools of Sharia scholars, and if all four of them agree on something, then it is considered Islamic dogma, and it can't change. So, as I said at the beginning, the question is Islamic Sharia incompatible with basic human rights, freedom of religion, etc.? And now let's bear in on Muslim nations and Muslim individuals. Does a Muslim have the freedom to, quote, change his religion or belief, and freedom, either alone or in community with others and in public or private, to manifest his religion or belief in teaching? Can a non-Muslim freely practice his religion in a nation whose legal structure is self-consciously based on Sharia law? All right, let's look at the crime of apostasy under Sharia law. When a Muslim leaves Islam and embraces another religion, say he becomes a Christian, a Catholic, a Coptic Christian, whatever, the penalty for a man exercising this basic human right is death. I quote, "In pre-modern Islamic law, there is general agreement among the jurists that the punishment for apostasy is death, and that the implementation of this penalty is obligatory on Muslims. This is largely based on the hadith, the words of Muhammad, quote, whoever changes his religion, kill him." That's what Muhammad said. His conversion is considered a crime against God as well as treason against him and treason against the Muslim community.